not call it a comeback, y'all. What's up, everybody? This is, once again, for 2013 GeekSet Radio. We didn't leave you guys behind. We had a lot of shit going on this last month, right, Danny?
Yeah, man, but we back better than ever. About to start off with a huge show, GeekSet Radio. You already know.
Yep, so, like I said, that was the voice of my main man, Danny, my partner in crime. As always, my name is Jut. And like Danny said, we got a whole bunch of shit going on, so let's just jump right into our tech segment. You know what, though? I'm kind of mad that I missed CES while I was on vacation. That shit I was in Vegas, those of you guys don't know, for a week over the holidays, and CES started the day that I was leaving. I was tight.
Craziness, yeah, man. It was a big show this year, big show. I mean, there were no major surprises, but still a lot of new shit that's going to basically come out this year.
Yeah, so one of the big things that came out was this. Sony's really starting to they're trying to step their game up. They got this. I guess we could call it a phablet.
Man,
the Experia, the new Experia.
The Experia Z. Again, it's a phablet. I know pretty much phablets are now they're the fad now. 5-inch phones, which. I mean, I've seen the original Note in person, and it was cool, but I don't know if I'm feeling this whole huge phone trend, but everybody's coming out with one now, so Sony got one out on their hands, I guess, because everybody's seen how popular the Note 2 is. Note 2 is huge. They're past 5 million last time we reported on it, so everybody's coming out with these phones. Like I said, I don't know, does Sony have any, sub 5-inch phones that are worthy to talk about?
No.
I really can't think of one.
There really hasn't been any Sony phone at all to talk about.
Yeah, they have the whole Xperia line, but it hasn't been popping like that. But they decided
over in Europe, I think they were okay over in Europe, but that's the difference. You can get away with so much more shit over there than you can here.
Yeah, they decided to make a splash this year and come out with this, and I think this is gonna semi-flop. I don't see it being as big as the Note 2. I don't see any 5-inch phablet being as good as the Note 2. And what people have to understand is that Samsung, they just didn't make a 5-inch phone, and that's what Samsung. The Note 2, it brings the stylus pen, right? Yeah, it brings the stylus pen, and it has its own customized skin/software that's used for phones this big from all these other phones. And again, I may be speaking a little up front, but I haven't heard of any special software that comes with this. They're just giving you 5-inch phones and hoping you buy it.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, Samsung really made its own niche with that. Like, they made it, and they found, okay, we're not just going to make a big-ass phone for you. We're going to make a big-ass phone and make sure you have ways to use it. You know what I mean? I actually picked up one the other day. We had one at work. And I was like, man, because for a while there, I was on the hype train. Man, I want to get this phone. And I picked it up, and you know what? I'm not sure if I still want it now. It's really large. I have big hands, and it pretty much takes up from, my palm to, my first set of knuckles. And I just think it would be a little awkward to hold, when you're just trying to do normal stuff. Now, obviously, having a pen, it would be dope, but I don't know, man. I think I would use it, but I'm not too sure if that's where I want to go. It fits really nice, in the hand. It feels snug and all. It doesn't feel, crazy awkward. But, just pulling it out of your pocket and things like that, I'm not sure how that will hold up, especially if you're trying to do shit one-handed, you know what I mean? But this Sony phone, I don't know. I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head there. They pretty much just made this phone for the fuck of it and said, well, I hope you guys buy it. But I guess I'll drop some specs for it real quick.
Yeah.
1.5 gigs, Snapdragon S4 quad-core processor, 1080p screen, 5 inches. It's running Android 4.1, 4G LTE, 2 gigs of RAM, 13.1 megapixel rear camera, 2.2 in the front. It's got NFC. It's water and dust resistant. I guess that's something to be happy about.
If you're Aquaman or some shit.
I guess, man. Unless you're a pool boy. A 2330 milliamp hour battery, which is pretty good. I don't know, but apparently, I'm looking at this fucking picture at this article, and they got this bitch in water, submerged.
Yeah, I saw that. There's a picture from CSE. They at one of the Sony booths or tables, they had the phone in a cup of water. actually.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, but yeah, maybe the phone, it has all the specs. It has all the top line specs you would expect.
Apparently,
It's a good looking
cameras are
phone. I'm
decent.
not gonna lie. It's a good looking
You
phone.
think so?
Yeah, I don't. It kind of it looks like a big ass iPhone almost. If
Yeah,
you
that's
look
what I
at
was
it
gonna say.
and you take off that Sony logo, it looks like a big ass iPhone. But again, look wise, it's not ugly. It's not the ugliest phone
It's sleek.
around.
It's sleek. I'll give you
Yeah,
that.
it is. But yeah, all these 5-inch phones, I don't know how I feel about this. I think at this point, all these companies have put out, they've put so many specs on phones internally that they're like fuck it, let's just start making phone big. That's their new
Yeah.
gimmicks. That's their new gimmicks. The pricing on this, we have no idea, but you can expect for this phone to cost you a liver and an arm probably, a liver and an
Yeah,
arm
man.
at least.
You know what the thing is? I think that if it's possible, I think, like I was talking to my girl earlier because, we're thinking about switching, phone providers or whatever. We're thinking about going to Verizon. And I was telling her about the Razer M where they made it, the form factor is small, but the screen is still big because they don't have any bezel on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I still haven't grasped the concept as to why a lot of these, I don't know if it's just manufacturing concerns or whatever, but to have a small form factor just with a big screen, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, I'm looking at this phone, and it looks big in the picture, but it still has, like, at the bottom, it's got, like, a nice size bezel down there. Like, it reminds me of the bezel at the bottom of the iPhone with the home, this one just don't have a home button.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I think that's a turnoff for a lot of people because, number one, people automatically assume screen size equals phone size.
Yes.
And that's not always the case because the Note 2 is huge, but it actually feels smaller than the original Note, even though the screen is bigger. So I think, like you said, they're pretty much maxing out on what they can do internally right now, but I think maybe we should see, I'm thinking maybe within the next couple of months, maybe the next generation of phones, we'll see some improvements with the actual design and the form factor of these new phones coming out, especially, like you said, these phablets, now that everybody's calling them these 4.8 inch, 5 point, X amount of however inches that you want to add on their phones to kind of bridge that gap. I think they're going to need to figure out how they're going to design these better to make them more marketable for folks out there with small hands, because a woman with small hands is not going to get this big ass fucking phone. No matter how much you market it to them, they're not going to do it.
And even women, you got about even young teenagers.
Right.
They're not going to walk around with this.
Because I know my sister, she switched from having an Evo, and she ended up getting an iPhone for a little while because she would always drop her phone because it's big for her hands. But then she got tired of the iPhone. She was like, I miss my Evo, so she got an Evo 4G. So Droid Gang wins again. But I don't want to get that started. So let's move along to NVIDIA. NVIDIA's dropping some heat, man. We got this Project Shield popping off. It's the Tegra 4, which has pretty much been the Great White Buffalo that everybody's been talking about for the last, year or so now?
Yeah, that shit finally dropped, and they're going to debut it on this, on the Project Shield. I'm assuming they're going to keep it, it's a funny name right off the bat. It has a real funny name to it, Project Shield. It sounds like some shit that should be protecting us from missiles or something. But, yeah.
Nick Fury going to be the spokesperson for this?
Pretty much, man. So this is like their handheld, their introduction into the handheld gaming arena. And again, I don't know how I feel about this one either. Expect, like, they throw these things out here, and spec-wise, yeah, this thing is a beast spec-wise. But I'm going to hop right into what everybody's probably thinking. Again, if you haven't, look it up, the Project Shield. We're going to go over the specs in a second. But as soon as you see it, you're like, and you read the specs, you're like, fuck, man. Again, this thing is going to cost a pretty penny. And one of the NVIDIA guys already said, don't expect this to be under $400. Straight up at CES, he was like, don't expect this to be under $400.
And he can expect me not to buy this bitch.
Yeah, even with all, it has the micro SD, HDMI out, USB port.
That's console money, man.
Yeah, 1280 by 720 HD screen. It's a 5-inch screen attached. So it's a small screen already attached to a controller, and it has all the specs in the world. But you guys already know how I feel about the handheld gaming arena. If your ass is not Nintendo, you're getting shitted on. Look at Sony with their
The Vita.
with the Vita. That thing, I'm pretty sure it was under $400. It had pretty nice specs, and that thing is struggling to sell. And I already went on a rant before that, so I don't know why NVIDIA would think, that this would do any better. And they're a pretty smart company, so I'd be surprised. I think they're going to expect a lukewarm reception. And I think this is more of a throw it out there to, developers and hackers just to see what they can do with their with the new Tegra 4 processor, more than this being a serious onslaught onto the handheld gaming thing. But again, the guy already said this is not going to cost less than $400. I mean, for $400, you can damn near. I'm gonna go with the route my man Liquid from the Kali.com always says. You can build yourself a damn nice gaming PC for $400.
Yeah, and you know what, like we said before, like this was a long time ago that we discussed it on here, but even if you travel, like, okay, for instance, all my traveling that I did last month.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you guys that don't know, I flew from, I live in PA, so I flew to Vegas, where my girl's mom lives, and we drove to California where the rest of her family is. I took my fucking HP touchpad that's running ICS and a PlayStation controller, and my ass was playing FIFA for hours and hours on end using my PlayStation controller. Like, we talked about it before. If you've got a phone or if you got a tablet, that's pretty much your gaming on the go right there if you do that to keep yourself occupied, which I do because I hate sitting still for a long time. I get restless. You know what I mean? But to shell out all this extra money for a Vita, I think the Vita was like $300 on drop or launch or something like that.
Something like that, close to that, yep.
To buy that, to buy games, I don't know how much the games are, but I remember when I had a PSP, them shits weren't exactly cheap. To get all of that, whereas, I had a tablet, I bought FIFA for 25 cents during September when Google blessed us with that beast-ass sale they had.
Yep.
I downloaded the, extra gig and some change that was, on the additional file. I synced my PS3 controller, and right there I have a console game, basically, on my tablet for 25 cents. But even if you don't catch the sale, the game is like $5 or $6, as opposed to $30 for one of these games, and then you have to still take the time to download it. You probably have to sync it with something with this NVIDIA. I think a lot of it is just more hassle than, I think it's old technology now that we have so much available for us.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays people are wanting to listen to music on their phones. They want to play games on their phones. They keep all their personal stuff on their phones. You know what I mean? So, me having my tablet was nice, so I don't kill my phone battery, but I can't see myself having my tablet, my phone, another gaming device just to play games on, go back to my tablet when I want to browse the Kali or something like that, like I do on the plane. I think you and I we were traveling at the same time, and you hit me up. You were on Wi-Fi on the plane, and I was hitting you up when I was traveling on the Wi-Fi on the plane.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't see, and even though this thing, you can play PC games on it, but it's like we've spoken about before, like another dedicated device. And not only that, like, and this was my main reason why I don't think they're serious about this is because of the price. If they were serious about coming into that handheld thing, throw this thing out for $200. But for $400, it doesn't justify carrying another device, a phone,
exactly.
a tablet, and now a handheld gaming console. It's just not even for all the specs in the world. Not at all.
You know what though? And it's not even all about specs. It's like the experience too. Like, that's console money. We got rumors of the new Xbox coming out, rumors of new PlayStation coming out.
Easy.
Why would I spend $400 on this? Okay, I get the whole convenience thing, but nah, fuck that. That $400 is $400.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, that's just $400. Because again, it's like you said, you got to think about when you start buying games. That's just $400. Even if the games are whatever, you're gonna have access to your Play Store, little bullshit ass games. But if you're paying $400 for something like this, you're gonna want to pay something like the new Assassin's Creed or something serious, which is still gonna cost an extra 10 or 15, even if you cop it from Steam. And then 3 or 4, you cop 3 or 4 games, you're already down $60. At the end of the day, with 3 or 4 good games, this could cost you close to $500+. And it just doesn't make any sense with the new consoles coming out, and with just a bunch of new tablets. You can pick up almost 2 Nexus 7s for that price.
And even if you have an iPad, you can still get a bundle of games, you know, whether you buy them or you buy them, quote unquote, regardless if you have, you know, Android or if you have an iPad, it's still a better alternative than all of this. You know what I mean? That's what I don't get though. I'm not sure. I think, like you said, I think you hit it on the head again. They're just kind of throwing it out there, like, look, we did this, and, you know, kind of Google did the same thing, something we'll talk about in a few minutes, just to kind of see what happened. And I'm just like, I don't know, I'm kind of over this shit by now, like, to be honest with you. All these guys, you know, if this was 2007, I'd be like, oh, all right, cool. But come on, man, we already have enough devices that can do this. And honestly, even though it has a lot of processing power, I don't think the experience is going to be that much different than, say, playing a PlayStation Vita.
Not at all. Not at all. That's the thing. Like, you know, so it's like, what are you offering besides? And you know what's fucking funny? This thing costs $400, and I bet you can pick up a damn 3DS and have more fun playing games on that than on this. Okay, not shitting on it just yet, but history has shown. History has shown.
I don't know. We'll have to see. Like, you know, I swear we need to have like a segment, because I swear I feel like I say this every week. Like, time will tell. Like, every time we announce something, I feel like I say it all the time, because we're like, I mean, you and I are pretty harsh on stuff, but the thing is like, I don't see any potential with this. Other stuff we've seen, we're always kind of looking forward, you know what I mean? And a lot of people that give us feedback, they're always giving us ideas and stuff that we read. I just don't see how practical this is. I don't know, maybe somebody out there can break it down for me and help me see the light, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just being cynical today. It could be. I've been up all day. I didn't get my sleep. All right, so we kind of killed. We talked about the Tegra 4 for a second with this new gaming system that they have. But you want to talk about the processor itself for a second? Yeah,
the actual processor. You know, now it's the Tegra 4. It's 6 times stronger than the Tegra 3, so 6 times more the visual output or whatever. It's gonna have LTE compatibility for the phones, and I mean, it's again, I feel like these chips and these processors for the phones, specifically for the phones, they keep getting stronger and stronger, but what we're doing with these phones doesn't really justify it. Again, I don't know if I'm making sense with that, and maybe some of you guys might not get me, but, you know, we're, again, 6 times as strong as Tegra 3, but, you know, what, I can't think of one really why. Yeah, basically, why? You know, they did put LTE in this, so that's, you know, that is a plus. But again, why? What is this going to bring? I know it's going to help. I was reading before. It's going to help with the type of pictures that you can take on your phones. You can now take true HDR videos and pictures. I'm assuming they're saying now you can. That means it wasn't on there before. You're going to be able to enable 4K Ultra HD video support, which we're going to talk about later on a beast-ass TV. But again, all these things, 6 times as fast, support for Ultra HD, support for HDR videos. When is this going to really result in actual apps in phones and in tablets even more? Maybe this will be the year. Who knows?
You know what this reminds me of, man? And I think between the two of us, we mentioned it on here a dozen times. This just reminds me of that piece that you and I co-wrote when we used to write for FSBS. We've got all these advancement in processors and more RAM in the phones, but why? Like, we're still having the same issues, like, with call quality and things of the sort, you know what I mean? What good is having all this, this processing power, if we can't still do the basic things that phones do? We shouldn't have antenna issues that we do. Shout outs to Apple. And I forget what other phone. There was a Motorola phone that was having issues with its antennas, if I'm not mistaken. But we still shouldn't have, I take that back. It was HTCs who've really been shit in the bed lately, but that's another story for another day. But, I'm reading this article and it's like, you know, it can make the mobile cameras more powerful than DSLR cameras, which is fantastic, because I think what they're really trying to do at the end of the day is make phones a one-stop shop for everything. You know, you've got your camera, you don't need a point-and-shoot camera anymore. You don't need your media player anymore. You don't need, you know, whatever. They want you to have one device, one device to rule them all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some Lord of the Rings type shit. But, you know, they're making all these improvements in processing power. Battery life has finally gotten to the point where you can use your phone, you know,
without an umbilical cord attached to it.
Yeah, you can use it normally, you know, without having to I gotta charge my phone. Hold on, let me turn my data off. Let me turn my auto sync off.
Yep.
You know, we shouldn't have to go through all that. But thanks to this, you know, number one, the new lithium polymer batteries, which are softer, you can mold them so you can make them bigger and flat. You know, number one, and then these new processors, which are more efficient, that's fine and good. You know, but why do we need so much video support? How often are you really needing to watch a video with that great of a quality on your phone?
Yes.
Now, if you record it and that's what you do, you record shit on your phone for whatever reason, you know, as a hobby or whatever, I can kind of see it then. But really, to the average person, what difference is this making to them? You know, and it just took them this long to get LTE support. You know, Tegra was ahead of the game for a long time. And then Samsung started, you know, making their chipsets and everything. And they came out with LTE support much, much faster. The Tegra 4 has been rumored for a long time. So I really want to know what NVIDIA is planning with this.
Yeah, and before you guys start riffing on us in comments or whatever, understand we're talking about phones. Because, you know, this chip is obviously going to be used in other areas besides phone and industrial things. But we're talking about us, the everyday consumer. Like, you know, what is this going to bring to the table for us in our phones? And, you know, it's supposed to. Because when I think of a stronger processor, I think of battery being shitted on more. But they're talking about this is going to decrease power consumption by 45%, almost 50%. So, you know, that's good. Because, again, you're putting these strong-ass chips in the phone. You want us to record HDR-type videos. You want us to be able to watch 4K Ultra HD video or output it to a TV. But again, what does this do for our phone? And you brought up a good point. When you got to turn off 60% of the things on your phone, sync, lower the screen brightness, all sorts of things, just to be able to record a 10-minute HDR video. So, you know, that's one thing which I think we're both going to look out for more this year. Like, you know, you're throwing out these Tegra 4 chips, but what is it bringing to the table? Besides, again, probably upping the price on these fucking phones, which is something that's why I'm really hoping Google comes out with, you know, they started to do it with the Nexus 4. I'm not going to sidetrack too much.
Man, don't get me started on that shit.
You know, but at least the price was there. You know, the phones have been there, but the price was a good idea. The price was a good idea. They just have to start
Nexus 4 is like Manti Te'o's girl.
Yeah, they just got to start producing it so people think they actually exist. Because I'm starting to think it doesn't exist. But yeah, we're going to be looking out for these Tegra 4 devices coming up.
Yeah, on paper, you know, I don't want anybody to you know, start saying, Judd, you've been shitting on everything today, da-da-da-da-da-da. Don't get me wrong. I think this is great, because if I have a phone that can take DSLR quality photos and shit, I'm going to be snapping pictures like a motherfucker.
Yep.
I like taking pictures. I think photography would be a great hobby. I was just thinking, I know you and I talked about it before. You actually went so far as to buy one.
Yep.
A Nikon, shout out to Craigslist.
Yeah, I had a Nikon D60. Yep.
Yeah, and I think it's good. You know, maybe it'll get more people to flood up Instagram. Which thank God I haven't even used that before. So I'm really happy I haven't.
Hang on, I gotta throw a shot at that. You guys have heard, right, that MMS and SMS is dying, right?
Oh Jesus Christ!
That's a little jab out there. That's a Kylie jab only.
I ain't gotta stay quiet on that one, man. I shit on that dude enough in that thread. That was
we gotta get him on the show one day. We gotta get him.
You know what? Y'all don't know what we're talking about. Let me just clue y'all in. On the Collie, there's a dude. What the hell is his name now? He used to go by RK, right?
Roll Diggy.
Mm-hmm. he's I guess you could say he's like a flavor of the month type dude. He used to like stay on iPhone real heavy, and he used to pop up in the Android thread like trying to shit on everybody. But all he does is just post shit that he sees on Google Plus about every single little piece of Android that he sees. Which, you know, you're probably thinking, oh, that's not so bad. But dude tries to pass off his opinion and shit that he reads or any little thing as like a fact. And he's been sunned, I don't know how many times, because first he said
SD cards are dead.
SD cards are ruining phones, and that's the reason people are having radio problems on their phones. Like the Galaxy Nexus had radio issues, the Verizon version, and I don't know how many times I done schooled this dude on wireless technology. And then SMS and MMS, you know, picture messages, text messages. He said that they're dead because nobody uses them anymore because they use Instagram.
Like, really. And that's it. You know, one day, like, I'm honestly gonna invite the dude, and, you know, we'll give him his chance to talk and debate us on here. But yeah, that's just some of the thoughts in the mind of a tech crazy.
Mm-hmm. But moving along from something stupid to something, you know, intelligent. Me and Danny like to consider ourselves semi. Between the two of us, we figure some stuff out. Let's talk about you know, this is the Roku. You know, I think we talked about the Roku before and things like that. But they're making some moves, man. Time Warner's they're coming to the Roku boxes. A lot of people, you know, I think more so lately. I say the last year or so, we've been seeing a lot of alternatives, quote unquote, to cable. And this is just another thing to kind of put their foot more, you know, in the door. Like, yo, check our product out. You know, you don't have to pay these dudes all this bread.
Yeah, Roku, it's already. I mean, if you guys remember when Roku first dropped, I want to say I think Boxy dropped before Roku. If any of you know what the Boxy is, again, they're streaming boxes. You get Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, you get a bunch of them, but Roku has really separated themselves from the likes of the box. I mean, there's not very many of them that actually are worth two shits, and it's pretty much Roku, Boxy, and maybe some of the Google TV boxes, which are way behind. But Roku's really, really...
Yeah, the Apple TV is about on that level too.
Yeah, Apple TV's up there.
It's got some funky quirks about it that you can... the way the media share, but it's decent.
Yeah, Apple TV, but then Roku's really separated themselves from the pack because they're the first ones. At this point, they're the first ones to get everything. And yeah, now they're getting the Time Warner cable suite worth of TV channels. And again, it's just it's another way. It's another step towards separating ourselves from the cable boxes. I mean, you know, you still need to have a cable subscription, but this is a standalone app for it. And I out of all the technology, out of everything, software, hardware wise, this is where I think we're seeing the biggest increase, like jump in new innovation. Really, I know, you know, signing, you know, keep in mind, signing this contract isn't new innovation, but you know, if Time Warner allows it, all these other Time Warner, if I'm not mistaken, they're pretty much one of the biggest cable companies out there. So you know, if they allow it, all these other smaller companies, they're gonna start allowing it.
Yeah, this is good, man. Like, you know, even if you do have a cable subscription, and I think honestly, I think it's gonna get to the point where one of these big companies, or maybe not such a big company as Time Warner, but maybe a smaller company, is gonna have a deal with, like, say, Roku, where for X amount of dollars, or if you buy the Roku, they cook a deal with them, like, all right, if you buy our premium box, which, you know, they have different stages of box, this comes with a year of the Time Warner suite, and then every year after that is $30-$40 a year, or something silly like that, you know what I mean, where you don't necessarily have to have the entire cable subscription if you don't want it. But you can have that since you already have your Roku, and you can do everything via the internet. Because I know a lot of people prefer, you know, internet, and what this does is just makes everything all in one, because you can browse and everything all in one little box right then and there for your family. Or if you don't want to put a cable box in your kid's room because let's face it, if you got to add a fucking cable box, that shit's expensive.
Yep, and no cable box is needed for this. So,
what's that?
That you don't need a cable box for this.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, say you have a family room or something like that, and, you know, I wouldn't call myself cheap. I just like to look for better alternatives. So, if I have another TV and I still want the same services, so that, say I want to watch the game with my friends or whatever, you know, I can put a Roku in my family room, we'll say. Don't have to pay the extra fee through DirecTV that I have. In my case, I have DirecTV. I don't have to pay for a box, or you have Time Warner, you don't have to pay for another box. You can still get all the channels you can get in the house in its own spot.
Yep.
You know, and you're not tying up your cable line. You're not doing anything like that. And best of all, you're saving money because you're already paying for the service. And Rokus aren't that expensive at all.
They're under $100. They're like $80. Even the brand new one, the Roku 2, they're like $85 or something.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing, like you said, like we're gonna start seeing more stuff like this. And you're right, there's been so much innovation when it comes to these alternatives. I think I've seen more alternatives for cable and movie services and things like that over the last 2 years than ever. And I know Blockbuster and everything like that is hating it because these companies are effectively really putting them out of business because there's more options, and the more options there are for the consumer, regardless of what they are, the more I am a fan of it. You know, I'm always a fan of anything that gives the consumer, because at the end of the day, I'm just a consumer. You know, you're just a consumer. We're just consumers with an opinion. The more stuff that we have to choose from and pick our options, so we're not just pigeonholed into one, I'm all for it, man. That's great for me.
Pretty much, and they're starting to realize that more people are watching their programs online for some for free, but people they are starting to watch their programs online and spending more time online doing whatever, watching TV, being on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. So companies are seeing the value of having these internet connected boxes. And I mean, for those of you that are like me and are into hacking shit and just messing with shit, the Roku, it can be hacked, and you can do all types of shit into it. You should Google that, and I'm gonna cover that in a couple of months because I'm gonna be setting up a little Roku HTPC type of deal. But the Roku's really a little amazing box, and now they went past boxes now, so you can get a little small box, but now they have Roku sticks. It's like a little USB stick, so it's even more convenient. We hook it up from one TV to another TV. I'm not sure if you're gonna hook it up to computers. I think not. But still, man, again, shout out to Roku for innovating on this. Not just, we created this one box. Let's just stay there. They keep innovating. They're signing people. And shout out to Time Warner for even taking this step. So
yeah, and cable companies have a bad rep for being fucking Nazis anyway lately. So maybe this is a step in the right direction. I think maybe they realize all the options that the consumer has, so they're gonna get ahead of the curve and say, you know what, guys. Let's help you guys out a little bit and give you some extra shit to work with.
For sure.
All right, so let's talk about the tablet game a minute, man. We got obviously I think at this point in the tablet game, there's a lot of options and a lot more players are coming to the game. And with this, I guess we'll talk about this new Acer tablet that's coming out. Acer been making a lot of tablets, but the one that we're talking about is it's a budget tablet, so you're not going to get crazy specs out of it, but it's a 7-inch tablet, and it's got Jelly Bean, 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor, 512 of RAM, but not so bad. 8 gigs of storage, little small camera.
Nice.
They're talking about it being under $150. I think this is a pretty good ass idea.
Man, I remember, I'm gonna reminisce for a second ago. I remember about 4 years ago when tablets first, maybe 3 years ago, when tablets first started to sneak out. There were rumors of the first iPad or whatever, and people were saying it's going to be a niche. They're not going to be in the iPad came out and other tablets. People,
I was one of those people.
It's still going to be a niche, but I always, I saw the uses for these as a secondary little devices, especially when the Kindles first came out and they were super popular. And I was like, damn, this is just a Kindle no color screen. All you can do is read books on it, and look at how popular it is. That's again right behind the things in streaming TV. Tablets are where innovation is happening. Keep in mind, there's nothing innovative about this particular tablet. It's been rumored for
that prices
for a while. Yeah, I mean, pretty much the price for it to be sub 150. And I think sub 150. I read a rumor. It's only going to be sub 150 in when you translate to dollars in India and somewhere else. By the time it hits over here, it's going to be maybe like 170, 175, which again still isn't bad. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sales and they do have it sub 150. But again, Acer makes a nice nice looking tablets. Their tablets are not ugly. This one, this one's running. It's running the latest Jelly Bean, which is a good thing, because believe it or not, there's gonna be tablets coming out in 2013 still running ice cream sandwich. Because I know there was some at late 2012. But yeah, they kept the specs pretty basic, but also you have the latest Android system on there. You have a slight little camera. You do have a dual core processor, so it's not the worst that you can go. But the price is there. People can finally start giving these. People of lower income can finally really start giving these to their kids.
Yeah, this is good for kids, man. This is when I first read this, when you dropped the link for me, the first thing I thought of was students.
Yes.
This is perfect for students, man.
Yes, and again,
it's got decent specs. You can get your books and stuff on there, and you can still use other apps to, take notes and things of the sort. Like, I would get something like this. Like, I would get this for my girl. My girl, like, she likes the idea of a tablet, but she's like, she would use it, but she's like, I don't know, I don't really want to spend the money, but I think she would use it. This is perfect. You want to get something like that for your mom, or like you said, like for your kids, you want to get something, for your niece, your nephew, whatever. You don't want to spend a lot of bread. This is a good ass idea, man.
Yeah, secondary. We were talking about this earlier with the Project Shield. Like why, let's say your kid wants a gaming, something to play games on or whatever. People now are really starting to give kids, all right, you're not gonna get the PlayStation Vita. Here, I'd rather give this to a kid as a multimedia device.
Yep.
Honestly, you give this to a kid. Obviously you have to be a parent who's on the kid. The kid, if you have a Netflix account, Netflix has their own separate little just kids section where they have all the cartoons and all that. Your kid can watch cartoons on it, can play the games. When you go on vacation, you load up some books on it. He can read the books on it. And then even for people who don't need the most spec'd out tablet in the world, and who just use it to browse online. Again, I've said it a couple of times. I gave my mom my touchpad, and all she does is go on and visit like the QVC site and just look at like the shopping sites or whatever. Nothing more, nothing less. Maybe she plays like Where's My Water or some Angry Birds,
Man, that's my shit, yo.
Yeah, but that's it. And, up until before this, the cheapest one was the Nexus 7, and before the Nexus 7, the cheapest ones were probably the Galaxy tabs, and those were 2 something, 3 something.
They were like 3.
Yeah.
I think the Nexus, if I'm not mistaken, that was the first like one that even cracked 200.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because they were $300 and $400. That's why I never got one until I got the touchpad.
Yeah. So this and that's that's why that touchpad thing was so huge. It was crazy to get one. But this really, at 150, I think it's a good price point. They're not gonna be below 150. As much as everybody loves seeing real cheap prices, and we've heard rumors of the mythical $99 Nexus 7. It's not gonna happen. I think 150 is a pretty good price point for 7-inch tablets. Shout out to Acer for being up on this. Like I've used. It's the one thing I'm gonna criticize them on. The way they name these fucking tablets. This thing sounds.
It's so hard to remember.
This thing sounds like it should be dropping Hellfire missiles in Vietnam. This shit's called the B1 A71.
That sound like the Terminator shit, yo.
Yeah.
Is that nigga the T-1000 or some shit like that?
Right, like that. They should have just kept it at the B1. Start a B series, a C series.
That sounds like some shit that drop bombs on you.
Exactly. Keep it at the B series. But
but
besides
that has a lot to do with a lot of stuff though too, with marketing. Because marketing has a lot to do with how these things are perceived, and with a name like on the iPad, you know, the Apple's whole system is I this, I that. It's very easy to remember.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you can go, oh, I know that's Apple, or oh, I know this is such and such. You know what I mean? Like with the Galaxy line, and now with the Razer line that Motorola's got.
The Nexus line too.
You know, yeah, exactly. The Nexus line. That's all stuff that you can associate with, you know, this line being, okay, this is this. So, but Acer's, I'm not going to go so far to say they're new in the game, but, you know, I still think they got room to improve. But the important thing is that it's a decent spec thing for the price.
Yes, it is. Yes,
and that's pretty much all I care about.
That's what we all care about.
See, and you know, the XDA gang is gonna have this thing running like a champ anyway.
Oh yeah, you know that's the best part about it, because you know, they're already. I know all the other. I go on there every once in a while over at the XDA forums. If you guys have any Android device, you need to be on there, because you know, even if you have an old device, your shit can be made like new with the ways people hack it. So yeah, I know all the Iconia devices, they're pretty easy to root. And this one, you know, it's gonna continue. I remember I read in the comments over there, one guy was, you know, he's gonna use this as his Xbox Media Center remote control. So, you know, we're getting these fancy TVs. You know, you can hack this, and that's if you have the extra 150 just to use this as a damn remote control, or your TV guide, or your little gaming
if anything,
device.
That'll impress some broads.
Yep.
But yeah, babe, look what I can do.
You can probably hook that shit up with YouTube Lean Back, the Lean Back app, where you can control your YouTube on your TV. Tell the girl, here, hand her the control, load up some Weeknd.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say the same thing. All right, so going from something that we know we would use from, what the fuck is ASUS doing with this Qube, man?
Man, hang on, I even accidentally closed the thing. I forgot about it. Yo, I honestly, I don't know what the fuck this thing is supposed to be. If you guys remember before the fiasco in like October with the Qube, which I was commenting before to jump right before we got on, they ended up giving the Qube was supposed to be like something you hook up and it played music and you can control it with your Nexus 7. They ended up giving them bitches away. And now them and Google, ASUS and Google are back, and now they have the Qube, which I don't know what it does. It has 50 gigs of storage, apparently access to Netflix and Amazon Video. There's motion sensing remote. But honestly, like, I don't know. Like, do you hook this up to your TV? Like, can you control it with a tablet?
I guess there's an app like the Smart Glass app for Xbox. But I'm my best guess is that this is just gonna be a media center. I'm guessing it's gonna be like a Roku kind of, but I don't understand why.
And Google TV still sucks. If that's what it's gonna be, and it's funny. It's funny. I'm surprised Boxy hasn't pulled an Apple, because this thing has the shape of a Boxy almost. But Google TV still sucks. Google TV still fucking sucks. For those
they dropped the ball so hard with that.
I don't know who runs.
The only thing I heard that's good is if you actually have one of the TVs
that's
and
integrated.
You have if you got Dish, it's all integrated through Dish Network. So if you have one of the TVs or the actual box, not that like bullshit one you had, it actually is okay. But now that I think about it, since you and I brought it up, like when we were talking before the show, I haven't heard anybody mention that shit since we were talking about this fucking Q shit.
Yeah, I don't know who runs the Google TV department or whatever, but yeah. So yeah, now you know I did miss this. It's gonna be a Google TV device.
But why does it need a motion sensor though?
I have no idea. It says for gaming and other apps, I'm assuming, so they might be trying to do a Connect thing. But yeah, I mean, the whole Google TV experience sucks. So until they fix that, this thing, I don't know the price on this thing, and they could price this shit at $50, and I wouldn't recommend anybody to buy this.
This shit is ugly too.
Yeah, it is.
This shit looks like a Rubik's Cube, but all black.
Pretty much. With like some, I don't know what the fuck is going on with this. Yeah, we're just mentioning this on the fact that it sucks and we don't know what the fuck it was going to be.
Watch this shit come out in like 3 months
and
blow everybody's mind, and then we're just gonna have to eat that L.
Man, I'm gonna fuck around and pre-order this in case they give it away again. in case they're like it sucks here, have it for free. But yeah, just
I'm gonna start sending the link to our show to like all these companies, and maybe they give us some free shit so we can try and figure it out on our own what the fuck this stuff is supposed to do. Because half the shit we see, I don't understand. I just look at it and I go, oh, this looks cool, but what am I supposed to do with it?
Yeah, and then that says a lot if we don't understand it, because we're up on this shit. So fucking just imagine the regular user walks into a Best Buy and somebody tries to convince you that you need a cube.
How do you even sell somebody like yo my man, yo, we got this ASUS Qube.
You need this. It's square.
Like, what?
Like,
what am I supposed to do with this? Nah, dog, see, look, you hook it up to your TV, right? And I'm like, yeah. They kill me with that shit in Best Buy anyway.
You know who didn't get to promote this? T.I. with the Squarey Cube.
The Squarey. That shit was gold. Oh man, I forgot all about that thread, yo. That's like a top 10 thread of all time. I'm not even gonna.
That's too funny. But yeah, man, let's get off this because it's making my technology IQ drop.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Well, I don't know what the fuck I would do with that cube, but I'm pretty sure I know what the hell to do with our next topic.
Woo! These are 4K
Samsung. I don't know, man. We're gonna have to start naming them Saint Samsung because they keep blessing us, man.
Man, I'm gonna name my next dog Samsung. Ain't even joking. Fucking a note or something. Because they keep dropping hit after hit. Shit ain't
even practical, but it's cool as fuck.
Yeah, and probably the most popular products on in CSC were these new Ultra HD TVs, aka 4K TVs. And Samsung dropped a beast of a TV. It's called the S9, and it's 85 fucking inches. 85-inch TV. Ooh. I mean, I think that's the only spec we should just talk about for a second. 85.
That's really the only one that matters.
Yeah, 85 fucking inch Ultra HD 4K resolution on it. I think these things are gonna go for like 20 grand, or it was either 20 or 40 grand a piece. It has like its own mounting system to it, which is beastly in itself. I mean, it'll be a shame,
It looks like an easel.
Don't none of you half hustling motherfuckers go out and drop 20 grand on this. Like, this would be a shame if you do not have, this needs its own room, first of all.
Mm-hmm. A big ass room.
With its own fucking sound system on it. Like, just top of the line thing. If not, you're gonna be wasting a damn TV. Don't hook up your PS2 to this. Don't hook up your damn PS2 to this shit. Don't fucking do it.
You know what? As cool as this is, why? If you know what though, I'm not gonna front. If I could afford it, I would. But 85 inches, you have to watch that shit in segments. All right, I'm gonna look at this corner. I'm gonna look at this corner. I think Samsung just doing shit just to do it. They're like, yo, you know what? Let's try and make a big fucking TV. Yo, that's a good ass idea. How big should we make it? All right, let's do it.
And how many dudes you need to carry it. But with the new TV technologies, this is always how it starts. They start off with ridiculous sizes and ridiculous prices, and then they work themselves down. So and probably
I'm sure people older than us, because I never really paid attention to TVs up until recently, but I'm sure they were thinking 50-inch TVs, 55, 60-inch TVs. That's crazy.
To be dead ass honest, they were pretty much even back in the day. We used to have here in my house a 53-inch, one of them huge ass box Zenith ones. So size has always been there, and it's usually that's how it starts. They start off with these big ass TVs and they work themselves down in prices. So size has always been there. Now it's more about ultra HD, ultra HD, 1080p. Next we're probably gonna have fucking 280p or some shit like that. It's all about the visual. It's all about the visual now. But this thing is fucking. I keep thinking, man, fuck around, hook this shit up to a Blu-ray player, cop one of them Blu-ray pornos, put that bitch on there, and Ultra HD pussy, man. But nah, seriously, this thing is beastly. It's gonna be like 20 grand. If one of you guys cop it, let me know so I can go rob you or something. But 40 grand.
Man, you gonna have to bring Danny Ocean and the rest of the crew to rob that motherfucker.
Oh yeah, I just confirmed the price of this shit's gonna be 40 grand actually. It's gonna be 40.
God damn.
Yeah, it's gonna be $40,000. Too bad, yo. Is MTV Cribs still around? Do they still got that shit?
I don't know. Birdman gonna have one. He gonna be like, you see this right here, Playboy is my new Samsung.
We don't even use this bitch. We don't even use it. We trying to put this in the G5, Playboy. You heard? We don't even use this. This for my son right here. Man, this thing is a beast. But yeah, I mean, with this new 4K technology, you guys can expect for this to be the standard in the next 2 to 3 years. You know, there's just, for the next year, at least year to 2 years, you're going to see these big ass TVs which are out of reach of the average consumers. But give it 2 to 3 years, these will be down to the 40 to 50 inches, down to the 1,000 to the no, hang on, what the fuck am I talking about? Hang on, they're gonna be down to a couple of thousands. But our new favorite company, Vizio. Vizio, yeah. I mean, I don't know why I just thought about this now, but they have 4K TVs already in the couple of $1,000 prices. I'm talking about like $1,800, $2,000.
Shit, I don't know. For me, my 50 inch is great. I'd like to have bigger, but I'll never hear the end of it from my girl. I think our TV's big enough, don't you think? Where are we gonna put it? Da 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 da. I'm like, look, just let me get this big ass TV so I can watch the game. All right.
I watch Sparatcus. So
that's all I want to do. I just want to watch ESPN on a big fucking TV with some beer and whatever snack I'm feeling at the time. Probably some wings.
For real,
and I'll be straight.
For fucking real.
Oh yeah, Samsung. But I wouldn't be surprised if they start scaling this shit down, because at a certain point you gotta start big for some stuff, you know, and you kind of adapt the technology to make it more practical for everyone else. But everywhere has its own starting point. But yeah, shit. Speaking of starting points, I just segued that perfectly. We got some Linux-based operating systems out now.
Yep. Ubuntu.
Ubuntu. I think it's Ubuntu. I should have double-checked how to pronounce this shit.
Ubuntu, but y'all know what the fuck we talking about. y'all know what the fuck we talking about. They're dropping. They're putting the foot in the smartphone arena. And I mean, I don't know if you've seen the video, the little short, not short, it's about 8-minute video where the guy was previewing this on the phone. I know they already got this running.
Is it in that link you sent me?
No, it's not. Let me see. No, it's not.
Look at that shit. I'm about to find it now.
Yeah, it's on the Kali if you check. But I mean, this is a good look. It looks. Their whole deal with this is you have one screen. This isn't a multiple screen thing like you have with iOS or with Android. All your widgets come out on the side. I like, I've seen this running on, not personally, but I've seen it already running on the Galaxy Nexus. It looks real good. I'll give it this. Visually, it's a real sexy looking operating system. But the damn phone arena is so packed. You know who's in trouble with this? It's gonna be fucking Microsoft and BlackBerry and RIM. They need to get their shit together because they're gonna be
I think, you know what, man? As much as I've shit on Microsoft and all that, I think that they may have found their own little niche right now. But I definitely agree that RIM's in trouble. I mean, they've been in trouble. So this ain't saying nothing. I don't know how I feel about this, man. I'm trying to look at this video to see, to form an opinion because I haven't. This really looks like WebOS to me.
It does. That's not necessarily a bad thing because, the short time I did use WebOS on the touchpad, I really liked it. And what held them back, and we say this all the time when we hear about new technology, it's new phone technology, applications. What type of apps they are going to have. And I know a lot of people, we've said it before, you don't need 100,000, 600, 700,000 apps, but there are core apps that you need to have, just because the masses like having all these apps out there. But again, so far from what I've seen, it's fluid. It's not a clunky looking software. From what I'm reading here, once you have an app, you can use it on the desktop, on your desktop PC, and on your phone, which is pretty cool. Linux though, and there was an argument going on the Kali about this, about using Linux on the computer, that it's a bit it's a bit complicated. I mean, I'm stretching the word.
It has a big learning curve.
There's a learning curve, and for the average person. I mean, I had it. I was dual booting it on my old laptop before, and I'm pretty familiar with computers, just like Judd is. So for us, it wouldn't be a problem. But I'm hoping that's not going to be an issue here with the operating system on the phone, and it doesn't look like it's going to be from what I've seen. So actually, the more competition, the better, because maybe people start taking these fucking phones. Maybe they'll start taking these Tegra 4 phones and making them worth a damn.
Yep. Is this just a preview of the operating system, or is this because that's not what the phone's actually gonna look like, is it?
Are you talking about the video or the article?
The link? I haven't gotten to the video.
Oh, the article? No, they have no hardware as of yet. They're
okay.
Yeah,
so it's just a mock-up.
Yeah, they're working. Yeah, I don't think they're not gonna do hardware. They're not doing hardware.
Okay.
They're just doing a software. Matter of fact, this the mock-up that you're seeing here, I think I read somewhere that this is actually a Galaxy Nexus.
Yeah, it looks like a Nexus device. That's why I say it actually looks like the Nexus S.
Yeah,
but it doesn't have hardware buttons, so it's probably the Galaxy Nexus.
Yeah, it's actually the Galaxy Nexus. So
you know who I really see? I see this being for business. I think that this will work for business folks.
Yes.
This could be the new RIM, because Linux is super secure.
Yes, it is. And
this is definitely another thing, because like you said, the more competition, the better, and
it causes innovation. That's what we need.
I don't mind trying something new, because it's going to be totally different experience than what we've seen. We've got, and now we're leaning towards that now. If we can compare Android to iOS, the similarities that they do have, then you have Windows 8 with its, shit out of left field. Now we have another one. This is great. This is great for electronics. This is great for consumers again. To have. This is something different. This is going to be something for people who like something simple and sleek. So, as time goes on, do they have a time frame for when they're fourth quarter?
Fourth quarter 2013, so when you should start.
End of the year. We'll be talking about it end of next year.
Knowing, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing these on HTC phones probably. First off, on HTC phones, which it's not necessarily a bad look.
I read somewhere that Samsung was working. I believe that they were working with the Linux people to get some more shit to get put on Samsung phones as opposed to only Android. Because lately Samsung's been working almost exclusively with Google with their phones. So I wouldn't be surprised to have Samsung's name thrown in the mix there too.
Yep. So
that's definitely going to be something to be on the lookout for. And like I said, man, this is going to be just good, And I would imagine that it'd be pretty fucking cheap too.
Probably.
But we'll have to see what type of hardware they come.
Oh yeah, that's the deciding factor right there.
Yeah. All right. So to put a little remorse into our next segment, for those of you that are fans of Reddit and things like that, we just want to give a quick rest in peace to AARON Swartz, 26 years old, the co-founder of Reddit. Yeah, man, it's a pretty sad story, man.
For you guys that don't know, this is the guy that invented pretty much RSS feeds at 13 years old. At 13 years old, this guy, he co-invented RSS feeds, and then later founded Reddit, which is pretty much one of the most popular websites in the world. and the young man committed suicide, brought on basically by a federal investigation of him allegedly stealing files from a major university.
Yeah, from MIT.
From MIT, out of all places, which he was, he was known on the damn campus. And the files that he allegedly tried to steal, allegedly in like the biggest quotation marks ever, were already pretty much free files. The deal that happened was that he tried downloading a whole database, and I don't know why I'm not remembering the type of files that it was or where it was from. I used them during school or whatever. He tried to download too much shit at one time, and it caused some servers to crash, and they tried to hit him with some hacking charges, and even MIT was like, no, it's cool, let's just drop the charges, but the feds were going after him, and they were fucking thinking about giving him 50 years or something.
Yeah, this dude was looking at fucking drug charges for this shit.
Yeah, just some crazy.
13 felony charges, including wire fraud, computer fraud, unlawfully obtaining information from a protected computer, and they said that he intended to distribute the articles on file-sharing websites.
And like a $5 million fine, too. So, they pushed the poor. And then the kid was pretty much a genius. At 13, invented RSS fucking feeds. He was only 26 years old now. So he hadn't even started his full potential ahead of him to develop his full potential.
Yeah, it's sad, man. Especially, I'm not going to get into the whole thing of suicide and things like that because it's not the time or the place for my personal views on that. But, for a person to go through that much to ultimately decide to take their own life, any person, whoever they are, that's got to be some rock bottom shit, that you feel as though that you can't do anything else but that. And like you said, man, dude had his whole life ahead of him, to do whatever, it's based off the things that he's done in his short time on this earth, especially with the way that the world is going now towards towards everything being on the internet and all of that. I wonder how much of a difference he could have made, if it wasn't for this, and I know a lot of, to kind of put a joking spin on it, I wonder how many tinfoil hat people are gonna, blame the government for this too, indirectly. But whether or not he was doing what he was doing, a lot of people see this dude as basically a folk hero. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's just a sad fucking story at the end of the day. So whatever you got in your hands, pour out a little bit for my man. And I guess he was fighting the good fight. So, just wanted to, Danny and I wanted to give a quick rest in peace and talk on it a little bit for AARON Swartz.
Yeah, shout out to him, man.
So that pretty much wraps up our tech segment. So we got some gems for you guys for our pop culture segment.
Yeah, let's get into it. It's one of my favorite segments.
Our main man, The Weeknd, got that gold, dog.
Gold plaque, over 500,000 sold in his trilogy album. Which again, if you guys think about the time frame in which he released this music originally, all three albums were, which was Echoes of Silence, House of Balloons, and Thursday, were released in a year period, maybe a little bit over a year, but I think it was exactly a year's period, and one of the quickest rises to stardom that I've seen. Then he went ahead, he remastered those. Again, the first three albums were for free. You could get them online for free. Remastered them, packaged them, threw them out, sold them, and in pretty much, I think in 2 months, went gold.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, that's for re-release music. It does sound a lot different, but the fact of the matter is it's basically 3 albums worth of stuff that everyone's already heard. For it to go gold, where record sales these days have been tough, to say the least, that's pretty fucking phenomenal. And this dude just signed his major deal.
No promotion, none, no crazy promotion, no MTV show. Really, really little radio play. I mean, he had the Lovin' the Crew song with Drake, which was real big, and it pretty much is. But outside of that, his own singles by himself. And,
Wicked Game's the only song that came on the radio, and that only came on the radio since the trilogy got released.
Yeah, and every once in a while. But again, with little, for him to do this, it's amazing. And again, I think his model should be what other people need to follow when releasing music. If you release good music, people will still go out and buy your fucking your CDs. And I know he probably makes tons of money touring or whatever, because he's always on tour and they're always sold out. So the money is still there to be made, but you can't just release bullshit ass CDs.
Shout out to Rick Ross.
For real, man. For real. GD's on that ass.
Oh my God. You know what, man? I'm upset we never got to talk about that shit.
We'll talk about it next week.
Going on that.
We'll throw about that next week. He had to cancel a whole show, but yeah, we're gonna get on that fucking next week. But yeah, again, this shows people, I'm gonna speak on myself personally. I have not bought a CD in years, at least 10 years since I bought a damn CD, and I went and I ordered his shit online just because the man put work into it, and the replay value on these shits is ridiculous.
Outstanding.
Ain't nothing.
I think you were the one that put me on last year.
Yep.
Like last December, I think. And shit, I still listen to it on the regular.
Hell yeah.
When something pops up in the car, I'm blasting it pretty much. Yeah, so my girl likes the music and everything, so
If y'all haven't bought this, go out and fucking buy it. And if you've heard the Weeknd's music, if you're a Weeknd fan, really go out and buy it. I think it's like, what was it? It's only like $15 too for 3 CDs.
Yeah.
You're paying like $5 a fucking CD. So
it's really good music. Like, one is a classic in my eyes. I think House of Blues is a classic. I think I only skip. I keep saying the same shit. I skip like 1 song or 2 songs at the most on there. Thursday is very, very solid, and Echoes of Silence is very, very solid. Like, they're all 3 great. House of Blues is a classic. The other one are just outstanding albums. Just depending on your kind of mood that you're in, each piece of music suits the mood that you're in. So, we always say, if you haven't gotten it, if you haven't listened to it, go ahead and give it a listen, see if you like it. It's not for everybody. For some reason, people feel the need to compare him to Frank Ocean. Not gonna go there.
No Frank Ocean, I'm straight.
But yeah, it's good music. So and you know what, man, I'm hoping I need that OVO XO album from him and Drake, man. That's what the streets need. We need that collab album.
That's the other thing. He's already working on a 2013 album. Don't know if that's gonna be a straight to CD album, or if that's gonna he's gonna mixtape it first. But whatever it is, it's gonna be great fucking music.
I'm gonna buy that shit. That shit probably gonna be flames.
Yeah, that shit's gonna be great fucking music.
All right, so we had to give our man our shout outs. Talk about some TV shows, since now me and Danny don't really watch the same shit nowadays. So we're just going to kind of talk about a little bit of everything, since we've been all over the place the last 2 months. The first thing we're going to get on today is the new season of Sparatcus.
Yeah, that starts up, when does that start up? This weekend? If I'm not wrong?
You know what? I think, I don't know. See, for me, I watched the very first season, and then I watched the prequel season that they had.
Mm-hmm.
And then the season after Andy passed away, I stopped watching it because I couldn't get into it anymore. It just didn't feel the same. No homo.
Yeah.
But last night, my girl and I were watching some of it after I got off for work, and I was lost like a motherfucker. I really couldn't tell you what was going on in it. The action scenes were dope, but I think it was the new episode though.
It might have been, because I know it comes on Fridays at 9 o'clock. So I think no, it wasn't, because last night it starts January 25th.
Oh, okay, okay.
Giants wave, yeah. Because last night they were showing reruns, and I saw my father watching them, and I picked up the control. And yeah, nah. But man, no, Spartacus is the shit. I went ahead and I quote unquote bought the newest the all the seasons, bought them online, and I was fucking rewatching them or whatever. And yeah, the first season really was the best season, and after Andy died or whatever, things kind of fell off.
The prequel season was good though.
Yeah, the was it, I don't know if it was Gods of the Arena or Vengeance. I think it was Gods of the Arena. The prequel season was a Gods of the Arena
Yeah.
because it was Blood and Sand, Gods of the Arena, and then Vengeance.
Yeah, I didn't like that one at all.
Yeah,
I
Gods.
saw that one on Vengeance where they ran up in that brothel and they started fucking everybody up.
Oh yeah, that was one of the last episodes. Yep. That was one of the
Yeah, I don't
last
know.
episodes.
I didn't care for last season. I liked the first two technically.
Yeah,
You
no,
know, it just I don't know, man. I think really it was really on Andy. I
Yeah.
think that was the whole reason. I don't know. I'll probably watch it and give it a shot and see if I like it again. But there's so much on the lineup, like for TV right now, that's going on that I really don't care because we got that new show, The Americans, that's gonna be on FX. That shit looks crazy. I don't know. Did I tell you about that?
No, you haven't.
It's for those of you guys that don't know, it's basically it takes place during the Cold War, and it's a husband and wife, quote unquote. They're Soviet spies. So there's two Soviet spies posing as an American married couple here in America. So it's a really really dope concept. It's something different, and it's got what's that bitch's name? Carrie Russell, I think. I'll probably take that. But it's on FX, so FX, I don't think FX has ever put out a dumb show. FX pretty much drops the heat with every show they've got. There's a new show on Showtime called Banshee that seems kind of cool. There's one, or no, that's Cinemax. There's one on Showtime called Ray Donovan that looks pretty dope, which is about, it's got the dude, you've seen the Wolverine movie, right?
Yes.
You know the dude that plays Wolverine?
Yep.
Not Wolverine, fucking
Sabretooth, yeah.
He's the main character. Basically, he's a fixer. So, these celebrities get caught up with some shit. He makes it go away. His dad is, in the show, his dad's played by John Voight. That's my nigga. His dad, holds some weight, and his pops wasn't supposed to be out of jail. I guess he did his pops dirty or whatever, and his pops gets out of jail early. So it throws a kind of wrench into everything that he's been doing. It takes place out in LA. So that's good. But yeah, I don't know. What are your expectations of Spartacus?
Well, I mean, like everybody,
besides the drinking and fucking.
Everybody already knows this is the last season. And this is not a spoiler for everybody, unless they decide to rewrite history in the show. Everybody dies. Yeah, everybody pretty much dies. All the gladiators, Spartacus at least, dies. So we all know that there has been the controversy and the political aspect of the fucking show. But yeah, pretty much me, when I'm expecting the violence, the fucking and the drinking. That's what the show's good at that. The show's good at it's not a bad show visually. The acting, this isn't HBO, and this type of show really doesn't require super great acting. The acting's okay. The new dude who plays Spartacus, he's okay. He's not as good as Andy was. Pause. But we were expecting to just personally see how the show winds up, and I don't want him to make this the last episode. I want an epic fucking battle. I don't want him to bullshit around the last episode. Like this whole basically they have to go balls to the wall with this because it is the last season. It's gonna be probably 13 episodes. So from episode 1 to episode 13, they gotta go crazy because they gotta end big because this is the last show. I know a lot of people might think, oh, you know what, fuck it, since this is the last season, they might half-ass it, which I really hope they didn't, but...
Yeah, I think, just kind of go back to what you were saying about the actors and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think the supporting cast is much better than the guys that they put in the light. Like, the black dude that plays, what's his name, Animeus?
Yeah.
He's a really, really good actor, and, my man Crixus, that dude is a beast. He's a really good actor too.
Yeah.
So there's it's a good mix of some actors, and some of it's a little cliche. And Lucy Lawless still bad as fuck.
Yeah, that amazes me. Like
she looked like 45, 50.
She amazing. She has to be older than that shit. I remember watching Xena when my ass was like 11 years old, and she was not. She was not in her 20s around there. So she's
something in the water down in Australia, dog.
She Australian too?
Oh. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she. Or no, you know what? She might be from New Zealand. Hold on. Let's hit this Google search real quick. I'm pretty sure she's from somewhere down there. She's from down under. Don't even ask me how.
Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, she's from New Zealand.
Yeah, she's
44 years old.
Oh wow, yeah, she's been acting. She's acting her ass off on that fucking show.
Yeah,
a lot of people thought she was dead.
Crazy too.
A lot of people thought she was dead during the last season, but she ends up being alive and just raising fucking hell.
She always does too, man. She's always in some shit.
Raising hell.
I'm gonna have to watch it just so we can talk about it.
Yeah, no, it's worth it. Some of the episodes are, you're like, what the fuck? Like, they do go, especially this. I'm surprised you like that prequel season, but that's the one I didn't like because I felt they went.
Really?
They really OD'd.
You know why I liked it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever noticed. I'm always a big fan of like character involvement in shows, and I think all the relationships between all the characters, and everything. I don't know, it just seemed very realistic. Just all the dialogue and the struggle wall and everything. And then also, I think the big thing about it too was you got to see why Asher's such a fucking snake.
Yeah.
Because I seen it yesterday, right? And I'm like, yo, how's this nigga still alive? Like I said, and my girl just started busting out laughing because dude's a fucking snake. But I understand why he's a snake too. Because he was really trying to do work as a gladiator.
Hello.
And what was his name?
Gannicus, yeah.
Chopped him in the leg with that sword and fucked his leg up.
That little gump ass motherfucker, man.
Gannicus?
No.
Asher,
yeah.
Yo, Asher, he's a fucking dirtbag, man.
He is, but he's smart. He balances out. He balances out the fact that all the other guys use brute force.
He's smart as fuck
to get what they want, but Asher uses the brains to get his way around, and it works.
Yeah, and you know what though? And the thing is that he's no slouch when it comes to fighting either. But he's just clever as shit, and he uses that to his advantage because I would say aside from Sparatcus, nobody's really that smart. Like Crixus is really pretty much just a jock. And Gannicus is a pretty boy.
Yep.
So really the only two people that are smart, even what's the Dominus name from last?
Badiatus?
Badiatus. His dumb ass. He's the definition of a smart dumb nigga. He was just a wannabe, man. You know what I mean? And Asher is probably, he's actually, for him being such a dirtbag, he's actually one of my favorite characters on TV just because how much of a fucking snake he is. But you gotta look out for yourself, and if you're not fighting, you pretty much ain't shit, so you gotta make yourself, worthwhile. So you gotta do the dirty work for your boss, you gotta do the dirty work for your boss, and that's just the way that it's gotta be. So I might have to peep out this season. I'll probably have to try and watch last season so I can understand what's going on in this season.
Oh, it should be showing reruns all this weekend.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try and if not, I'll buy it.
Yeah, let me know. I can lend you my copy.
Sounds good. So we were talking about FX a minute ago, and you don't watch it. And I was trying to put you on. Justified is low key one of the best shows on TV, man.
I'm gonna start peeping it. Tell me what it's about. I haven't seen it.
Yo, I swear you're gonna love this show, yo. The dialogue, I keep saying this. The dialogue in this show is fantastic. It's better. I would say that the dialogue in this show is on par with The Wire between the characters.
Really? Damn.
Yes. Just the one-liners, the back and forth, the relationships between the characters, and the plot. Like, if you guys haven't watched Justified, it's basically a U.S. Marshal. It takes place in Kentucky, of all places, in, like, rural Kentucky. It's his hometown. And the dude is pretty much a cowboy. Like, he got in trouble for shooting too many people, so they sent him back home. And he sees all the people that he grew up with, he knows all the players in the game and things like that. And it's got you watched The Shield, right?
No.
You never watched The Shield?
No.
Well, it's got Shane from The Shield. His name is Walton Goggins, I think is his name. He's a phenomenal actor. But he plays the other character, Boyd Crowder, and just all the deep Southern accents in the show, the dialogue between the characters, all the fuckery. Like, there's so much fuckery in this show. Like, it's ridiculous. But mostly it's all centered around, like, just hillbillies doing math and all kinds of stuff like that. And just the relationships between the characters have so many different levels. And like I said, the dialogue is just fantastic. But yeah, if you guys ain't watching Justified, y'all need to get your shit straight, because it's just a fantastic show, man. It's great. It comes on FX on Tuesdays at 9. I'm not sure. I think my DVR knows what time it is, and for me, that's all that matters. But yeah, it's a great show. It don't really have any stars, but it's great, man. That's all I can really say. I find myself watching it, just laughing at it, but it's got a lot of action. People getting the shit beat out of them. People getting shot.
That's all I need.
Yeah, pretty much people getting, because it's out in the hills in Kentucky, so some dudes getting thrown in mine shafts and all kinds of stuff.
I'm gonna have to peep that.
Dudes getting strung up like pigs last season. But this is the 3rd season, if I'm not mistaken. If you're gonna start from the beginning, the first season starts off a little slow, but just stick with it but the second season is one of the best seasons in TV. For me, Justified is up there with Breaking Bad right now as one of the best shows on TV. It's really solidified itself just through great writing, and that's really all you need. Great writing, great acting. A storyline doesn't get stale. It doesn't really follow. It'll have like one, I guess, semi-loose storyline, but they're always looking for somebody, or somebody's always looking for Raylan. He's the main character. His pops is a fucking criminal. Like, his whole family is criminals, and he's a marshal. His pops is like an OG. And it's funny, his pop's name is Arlo. He don't call his dad Dad. He calls that nigga Arlo. And just, like I said, the Southern accents make it even more funny. So check out Justified if you guys can. It's really, really, really good. But I think that pretty much wraps up everything that we wanted to talk about TV so far, right?
Yep. Now we're going to touch on the movie real quick.
Some movie stuff. I actually got a chance to watch a lot. I watched more movies in the last couple months than I think I have all of last year. I was going to drop a couple reviews. I saw Lincoln a couple months ago. That was pretty good. But the one thing that's been stirring up a shitstorm is Django Unchained. I guess I'll ask you first before I give my 2 cents in it. First of all, what did you think of the movie?
I liked the movie. I liked it a lot. I mean, beforehand, there was a whole bunch of controversy about it. I really didn't give a fuck about. I mean, more than anything, I think the controversy made me want to go see it. If there wasn't a whole controversy about it, I think I would have waited for a DVD to drop so I could have bought it or whatever. But all the controversy, I was like, let's go see what it's about. The movie was real good. It's a long ass movie. It's almost 3 hours long. And a movie's good when it's that long and time feels like it flies by.
And you don't get bored.
And you do not get bored. Again, you guys already know all the top-notch actors are in there. The style of it was a little bit different. You guys know Tarantino.
It's a spaghetti western.
Yeah, Tarantino uses that style, that unique style it plays for different movies. And overall, I really like the movie. As far as the controversy, I know we're going to get into that in a second. As far as the controversy with the use of the N-word, I honestly, to me, I don't think it was done tasteless. They used it.
Thank you.
They used it because in that era, maybe he threw it in a couple more times than he could have. But again, it's a movie. It's not supposed to be that realistic. But in that era, that is how black folks would have been referred to as by white dudes. So there's nothing, that's again, as far as the use of the N-word, that's how I feel about it. It wasn't, it may have been overused, if anything, but I don't think it was used tastelessly.
Yeah, like when I first heard about the script, and they're like, oh, Tarantino's gonna make a movie about slavery. I'm like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was really probably the first thing out of my head. But Quentin Tarantino is one of the best directors of our generation, first and foremost. And he really doesn't, he just got a particular style about him. He's got a quirky style, you know what I mean? And I actually, before I talk about the script, you know, from a cinematic view, I like the way he shoots his movies. He's got a nice way of the camera angles, the way that he uses wide shots. I really like if you think about like Reservoir Dogs during the chase scene on the street when they first rob the store, how he shows the wide angle of the street and dudes running down the street. You see the street, then you see the guys running, then you see the cops chase them. I like his style that he uses like that. And he used a lot of that in Django, like during the scenes where Django and the doctor, the dentist are traveling.
Yes.
He used a lot of dope camera angles. But, you know, like you said, the more controversy about it is that everybody thinks that Quentin Tarantino is some kind of closet racist. But the thing about the movie is that it's a movie. It wasn't made to be like Roots. And I don't understand why everybody is putting so much of a fuss about it. Like, yeah, it's a movie about slavery, so of course it's going to be fucking touchy. I get that. But not one time in my head did I think, damn, I'm going to go see this Quentin Tarantino movie for an accurate depiction of slavery.
Well, you know what? I think people have to think, and it's just me, I didn't see it as a movie about slavery.
I did. You know what? I think that slavery was really the background story of it. It really was a fucking Western movie.
To me, it was a Western love movie. If you think about it, it was
actually, you know what? I think that shit was funny as fuck. First and foremost, yo. It was really like it was a Tarantino movie.
Yo, when Samuel L. Jackson's character comes on.
Oh my God. Nah, you know what I thought the funniest part of the movie was, and like we're kind of just talking about random shit now, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
The funniest part of that movie was the hood scene. Where they go to blow up dude's wagon.
Oh yes. That
whole like 5 minutes of dialogue with Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
He's like, my wife, da 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 da. Yo, that shit had me in tears in the movie theater, dog.
Yeah, that fucking movie, it was. It had everything. And I mean, again, the last thing I thought of it, honestly, you know, there was slavery in it, but slavery was not the main point.
Actually, you know what? The dude that was at the end, the one overseer with the short, spiky hair, kind of young looking.
Yeah.
That's the dude that's in Justified. The one that was gonna castrate him.
Yes.
That's he's in Justified.
He's the actor. Okay.
Yeah, so he's a really, you can see he plays those roles really, really well. It just popped into my head, but yeah, man, I think that it wasn't really about slavery because slavery was just really the backdrop of it.
Pretty much.
You know what I mean? And I don't know, man. Like I said, I didn't go see this movie for an accurate depiction of slavery. If I want to see that, if I really want to touch on some issues, I'll go watch Roots. I'll go watch Amistad.
Yes, I was going to mention that. Amistad, yeah.
Which is a phenomenal movie, and that movie, every time I watch it, just fucks me up, and you know what I mean?
Or I'll go read a book on it. I mean, like, you know.
Yeah, I'll go read a book, but I'm not going to watch Tarantino for an accurate depiction of shit.
Yeah.
I didn't watch Inglourious Bastards to learn about World War II.
And Hitler, yeah.
Yeah.
Not at all.
You know what I mean? So I don't understand, man. You know, and I'm not going to shit on Tarantino. I thought the script was well written. I thought everybody played their parts really well. It had some plot holes in it, you know, but what Tarantino movie isn't over the top?
Exactly. So as far as, I mean, if anybody's listening, you haven't watched it, as far as that, worrying about it being extreme,
it's not going to make you uncomfortable,
or a mockery of slavery or anything like that. It's nothing like that. Slavery was just part of the plot, and honestly, think about it more as a black Western / love film. That
was a movie full of black excellence.
Yes, it was.
Because Jamie Foxx was swagged the fuck out.
Yo, when he said, when dude was like, when the guy was offering him, you know, training him and telling him the job description or whatever, and Jamie goes like, hang on, so you're going to pay me to kill a bunch of white folks?
That shit was good,
he's like, let's fucking go. And honestly, when's the last time you seen a movie with a prominent African American actor just blasting white people?
Yo, he beat the shit out of him with that whip, dog.
When he caught the brothers, the first brothers.
Yeah. Yo, he came up with that Austin Powers suit on the white horse.
Yo, baller.
Like, it was a very, I don't know, I think if, you know what the problem is here, and I'm going to use some reverseism, and I know people are going to be blowing us up about it. I guarantee you, if Spike Lee made this fucking movie, nobody would be bitching.
Nobody would have watched it. Yo, fuck Spike Lee. Since when?
You know what the funny thing is I'll catch more heat from it because you're Dominican,
mm-hmm.
I'm black,
mm-hmm.
so y'all call me a coon if you want to, but still, you can come on the show if you want. You can debate with me and Danny. You can debate with me. You can debate me on Twitter. Mm-hmm. I spent half my night last night debating MMA with some fucking random blogger. That's what I do. But yeah, man, I don't. People are like, oh, this movie is filled with coonery and this and that. There's literally no cooning in the movie.
Yo, what's his face? The one that makes the Medea movies?
Tyler Pitch.
Let's talk about if he had made a movie like this.
Yes. Yeah, let's support a dude who has a that dresses up in drag as a fat stereotypical grandmother.
Yes. That's why I think.
Gun in her purse and smoke cigarettes when she's stressed out. You know, let's go support that, but let's not support a white man that's making a good movie about black excellence.
And you know what's the other thing? Remember when the movie Red Tails came out not so long ago? There was an issue. Who was filming that?
It was George Lucas, or was it Steven Spielberg?
No, it was Lucas. I think it was George Lucas, and he said he couldn't get funding. He couldn't get funding to get that type of movie out there. And the movie really, I don't want to say it flopped, but it wasn't a huge.
It didn't have the potential that it should have.
It wasn't a huge success. And I think what people need to understand is if you want more prominent black movies out, you have to go and support them. Not saying that this Django movie was a prominent black movie, but again, the topic was touchy. And there's a flip side to the story. Besides the controversy of the N-word that a lot of people don't know about or may not have heard about, there was a big controversy just for the fact that Jamie Foxx. I know me and you were cracking jokes about him killing white people. But there was a big controversy, and it's funny because I know a lot of the Kali brothers use this on Twitter, talking about white Twitter and stuff. But there was a big controversy in the white community because a lot of white people felt uncomfortable, not with the fact about slavery, but with the fact that a black man was in a movie killing a bunch of white folks. So people are saying if you support movies like this,
white folks whipped up black people, and Nah, I'm not even gonna go there.
Exactly. So people understand.
You know where I was going.
Yeah. So people understand, man. You support these type of movies, and if these movies are seen, because trust me, the people that run Hollywood, they don't give a fuck about people killing white folks. They don't give a fuck about the N-word. They're in it for the money. They'll put the movies out there if the money is in it. So if people don't support these types of movies, as ridiculous as they may seem, you're not gonna get prominent black actors playing roles.
Nobody's gonna give a fuck.
Playing roles like this. You're gonna continue having the Medeas. You're gonna continue having the sports movies. You're gonna continue having only Denzel playing good movies, and even them, he had to, like Jada Kiss said, he had to play a crooked cop to get that award. So
yeah, and you know what the thing is too, like it's like the movie itself, like, just if you think about the concept of a movie, white dude finds a slave to help him track someone down in a Western setting. That's a dope fucking concept for a movie. How many movies have we seen that have zombies in it, that have, some kind of World War II movie,
that have a fucking kid that knows how to do magic or some shit like that,
right? like some cabin, like what are the hot movies out right now? That movie Mama, about some kids that got fucking left in the woods. That stupid ass fucking movie with Brad Pitt that looks like some Walking Dead shit.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw the trailer for that.
No, I haven't. No.
It looks stupid. It looks dumb as fuck. But like, and then we have reboots. You know, we talked about reboots on the show. What's wrong with having a breath of fresh air into Hollywood? Like, this is what we need. We've got these movies, and then we have movies stuff that haven't been touched upon. We got a Jackie Robinson movie coming out. You know how epic that's gonna be? Just from this standpoint, we wouldn't have movies like this 20 years ago.
Not at all.
You know, and we got Spike Lee talking shit. Oh, this is disrespectful to my ancestors. How is it disrespectful to his ancestors? It wasn't displayed crazily. You know, it wasn't anything that was grossly inaccurate. You know? And I'm not going to shit on Spike Lee, because Spike Lee has made classics in his time. You know what I mean? But Spike Lee, you can make a movie about two homeless dudes who dress up in blackface for money.
Yep.
And Bamboozled, if you guys haven't seen that. It's a great, great movie. But how is a movie about two homeless guys, you know, and an Uncle Tom, you know, how's about two homeless dudes who literally dress up in blackface and literally do minstrel shows for white folks, and an Uncle Tom dude, you know, how is that disrespectful to your ancestors? How is that not disrespectful to your ancestors? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand this double standard shit. But it's Spike Lee being fucking bitter like he always is when somebody gets in the spotlight. Fuck Spike Lee, man. He gets on my nerves with that shit.
He got shitted out with that. But yeah, folks, if you haven't seen the movie, go out and see Django. It's well worth it. If you're one of the few movies that's well worth it.
Yeah, it's go to the movies and watch it, y'all. And you know what really sold me before we hop off this topic and go to our next one? You know what really like got me is, like, you know, I listen to a lot of different podcasts and things like that. But when I was in the movie theater, my girl and I, we sat next to an older black couple, and they were probably like in their 40s to 50s. And I was like, shit, you know, because I figured if anybody was going to get, you know, maybe rubbed the wrong way, it was going to be them.
Yep.
Not at all. They were laughing along with the jokes. You know, there's a lot of humor in the movie too, which I think saves it. It's not purposely, I mean, I guess you could call it a comedy, but there's a lot of funny parts in the movie, and the storyline's not that bad. It's got a couple plot holes in it, but I really thought that the older, you know, black folks sitting next to me would be a little uncomfortable by some of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And it really wasn't.
Shit, I saw the movie in the total opposite setting. I saw the movie in the whitest town probably in the damn country. In a movie.
Oh, you saw it when you were on your trip.
Yes, in a movie theater with about 10 white folks and an older couple. Actually, it's funny how you mentioned this older couple. They were probably in their 60s. They left. They got up and left halfway through the movie.
Damn.
So yeah, and it was not packed at all. And I saw it probably 2 weeks after it came out or whatever, and it was a local big movie theater too. But yeah, so I don't know, man. People, you know, go watch the movie, people.
Yeah, just watch the movie. If you guys, I would love to get some more feedback on it. I don't know, man. I take a lot of movies for what they are, movies. I don't get offended very easily.
Me neither.
You know, me personally, I don't get offended very easily. And yeah, it just wasn't, I don't know, I just don't think it was a big fucking deal for anybody to be, it's a movie. Now, if somebody came out, you know, if it was a real issue, you know, somebody in a press conference said some disrespectful shit or said some out-of-pocket stuff, then yeah, I'll be on here going on one of my little mini tirades like I do sometimes. But it's not. It's a movie, guys. Movies are made to be entertained. And I was entertained by the movie. So call me a coon if you want to. I'll be that. But moving along to some what's the best word we can describe this shit, man?
Oh, this is gonna be comedy right here.
Yeah, man. It's okay. Let's just go. Manti Te'o.
I'm gonna let you get started on this because you know you're the sports one here, but I know the story. But I'm gonna let you get into it a bit.
All right. So for those of you guys who aren't big into sports, Notre Dame rose back to prominence, this year. National title game, whatever, all built around their star middle linebacker, Manti Te'o, who's been getting all kinds of publicity, not for only his play on the field, but the fact that his grandmother and his girlfriend passed away on the same day. So everyone had been running with this story from ESPN to Sports Illustrated. Every time this kid was on the field, they were just talking about how much of a heart he has and how he overcame so much heartbreak and struggle and all this and the third, whatever. But last week, shout out to Deadspin, who dropped an article saying this bitch didn't exist.
Now, folks, for our non-sports folks, I'm gonna just break it down real quick. This guy claimed to have a girlfriend who died. The girlfriend never even existed. Let that sink in for a second.
So a lot of you are probably thinking, why would he do that? I haven't done that since 7th, 8th grade. Everybody made up a girlfriend that didn't exist. That she went to another school or she lived in the next town over, whatever. But the key here is publicity. Because dude was a great football player. Don't get me wrong. He had a phenomenal season. But really what this did was boosted his stock for, he's a middle linebacker getting as a Heisman finalist. Heisman's the top award in the country. And this pretty much made him a topic. It made him a hot topic to talk about. And it was all fucking fake. Like, Deadspin dropped the article and they went and did some research. And, allegedly he had met her after a Stanford game. She was a student at Stanford. So they did some digging, and the girl didn't exist. Like, there's no records of that girl enrolling in the school. Nothing. Nada. At all. So he comes out and says basically that he got catfished. But you can't get catfished if you say you met the person, man.
And what I don't get is like why? Because from what I'm hearing, the guy was already a pretty good football player.
He was great. He's pretty much a lock to be a top 10 draft pick this year.
Like, what does making up this story? Like, what value did he think? Did he think it would add some value as far as, getting drafted higher? That's what I understand. Where was the value? If you sucked as a football player, then, you played 1 or 2 games that were really good, and then you threw the story out to keep the spotlight on you, okay? But if you're already a real good football player, I don't see where the benefit is. That's what I've been trying to get away from this. What was the benefit of him throwing this out there?
I think a lot of it has to do with other than football shit. Mm-hmm. A lot of people were out there saying that dude might have been,
Oh, he was a wide receiver.
Yeah, he was a catcher.
Oh, man, okay.
So that he was, trying to cover it. I'm not making any accusations here, y'all. I'm just using a little logic. But for all of that, though, too, you could have found some broad on the campus at Notre Dame. You got her on a campus filled with repressed Christian girls. Why you need a girl online?
Yep.
And you the star football player? Come on, man.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I don't get. And I think also, like, it boosted his stock. He was a Heisman finalist. Even though he was already a great player, I don't know. It's a big cover-up. He's saying he got catfished, and just there's so much fuckery to the story. And then it came out that, she called him on December 6th and said that she had to fake her own death to avoid some drug dealers. So I'm going to just let that...
Someone needs to tell him to shut the fuck up.
Pretty much.
Whoever, like, I don't know...
He's really digging a hole for himself here.
Whoever is fucking, coaching him off the field, whoever's coaching him off the fucking field really needs to tell him to shut the fuck up because he's fucking himself up for the future.
Yeah. Because a lot of people are rumoring, like, right now that, like, his draft stock is going to fall because of this. Because you gotta, you know, a lot of people are like, I don't see the big deal. But if you got to perpetuate a lie that big over that long of a time,
mm-hmm.
something's not right there.
Yeah, you're wired.
You know what I mean? Like to keep that going, you know, and obviously it's him and another person, and there's been a lot of conflicting reports saying that, you know, it was all the other dude, which obviously his homeboy is gonna take the fall for him because he's the star. You know what I mean? But still, man, like all the stuff that he said that they met. He said she was the most beautiful girl that he had ever seen, or that he had ever met. She was coming to Hawaii to, you know, spend her vacation with him, you know, when he was on vacation. And, you know, like, she was supposed to meet the family, and then they came out and said that she never showed up to meet him, and that he didn't want to tell the rest of his family because he thought that his family would be, like, embarrassed, and that his dad would tell him to stop talking to her or whatever. But I'm like, that don't even make no sense, dude.
No,
so I'm starting to think, man, maybe old boy was gay. He ain't want nobody to know he was catching passes on the side.
You know, they say if it walks like it, if it talks like it, you know, it might be it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This story just keeps getting crazier and crazier, though, too.
It might be it.
Just all the stuff that's come out about it, you know, like I said, with the drug dealing thing, and he said he told his coaches, and then they sat on the story, and just all of this stuff, like, coming back and forth. You know, the truth eventually has to come out. And I think that's really the only way that he's going to get it passed, because everybody has been clowning him over the last couple of days. If you go on Tumblr, they got a page called Taoing, which we had T-Bowing, we had Planking, now we got Taoing, which is basically a bunch of dudes taking pictures with make-believe people. So there was one with a dude sitting on the couch with his arm around nobody, and he was like, oh, just chilling with my girl. You know, and they had one where there's a dude with like a little ring box, and he was on one knee saying, I hope she says yes. And then today on Twitter, fucking Ocho Cinco picked this picture of these sheets with like a drawn-on girl, and he said, I'm going to get these for Teo. You know, so everybody's having fun, you know, cooking off this dude. So it's only going to get worse when he gets to a team, you know, with all these veterans who don't give a fuck and they like to clown the rookies. You know, this is some pretty serious baggage for this dude. Not to mention, it's pretty fucking funny. Just to even make up some shit, like I said, that's some like 7th grade type shit. You know, like, oh yeah, my girl, she go to such and such school. Yeah, I see her in the summer, or I go over there on the weekends, and this and that and the third. But you a grown ass man. You know, you're one of the top football players in the country.
Could have found himself a real bro
to get attention.
It's like you said.
To even attach that shit to his grandmother's death is fucked up to begin with.
Yeah, it's like you said. As far as the girl part goes, like, you know how many girls are probably after his ass. You gotta make it.
Probably like, nah, he's sitting at the frat party.
Yo,
like,
for real.
Sitting at that frat party, an old girl thrown in the box, and he's like, no, I got a girlfriend.
What was the girl's name? Did they ever say what the makeup girl's name was?
They do. Let me look it, because it's.
And you know, wasn't he using? You know what's even crazy? He was using a picture of a girl who actually does exist.
Yep. Somebody fleeced her too. They said, hey, my friend was in a car accident. Can you take a picture with this sign? He thought you were cute or whatever. You know, it might make him feel better. So they like fleeced this chick into taking a picture to make it look even real. Like, y'all gotta read the Deadspin article, because it's got so many details that, like, we would spend another hour probably going back and forth about all the little mini details.
Mm-hmm.
But Deadspin pretty much deaded the whole argument, because the girl allegedly got into a car accident, and then she found out she had leukemia, had a bone marrow transplant, still suffered complications, and then died. The same day his grandmother did. I don't know why that didn't raise no red flags to begin with, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But then another football player had come out and said that the girl exists. He remembers doing like charity work with her somewhere in the Pacific Islands. I don't remember exactly where. It might have been like in the Philippines, maybe, or somewhere. I don't remember exactly, but it's so much bullshit, man. Like, how you fake a girlfriend though, man?
How you fake all that other shit too? Sad shit.
His grandma probably rolling her grave though.
Sad shit, man. But let's go from fake dead people to fucking real dead people, man.
That's a good segue, man.
Our boy, Prop Joe. You know what's funny? I'm gonna tell a funny little story about that. I don't know if you caught this on Twitter. Somebody put rest in peace, Prop Joe, and I replied, like, yeah, that was fucked up how Marlo killed him. And then a couple of minutes afterwards, I fucking I see the thread over on the Kylie, and then oh shit, he really fucking died. Like the actor who plays Prop Joe on The Wire, the guy passed away this weekend.
Yeah, man, that's dude played that role phenomenally. His name is Robert Chu. Just a really unique character for TV. Dude was nice and deadly all at the same time. Slept on.
Yep. Right before we were recording this, I was thinking about this. People, I don't know if everybody realizes this, because Prop Joe ran the east side or the west side? I think it was east side. Prop Joe ran, you guys got from season 1 all the way to the last season pretty much. Prop Joe ran the east side the whole time. Never challenged, nothing. Just him by himself, really never craziness happening at all. As opposed to the west side, which had pretty much 2 crews going at it and a bunch of other little guys trying to go after him. Prop Joe ran the whole west side by himself.
Yeah, Prop Joe, you know what, man? Prop Joe had that interesting style. Like, he was open about everything. He had the New Day Co-op, and, you know, after a while to kind of help everyone out. But he was really like the godfather of Baltimore. Even though, you know, anybody that watched The Wire, the east side and the west side had perennial beef, and that beef ran deep, you know, from however long, you know, even the old heads in the show were talking about it. You know, Prop Joe kept all that shit. When people needed deals brokered, they called Prop Joe. When they had that beef with Omar was fucking everybody's business up. What they do? They call Prop Joe.
Even Marlo.
Get out of pocket, call Prop Joe.
Marlo went from being just a street dude to a real certified kingpin. Cause Prop Joe, he might as well have called him Pop Joe, but Prop Joe showed him the way.
Yeah, his whole, like, if you think about, you know, if we think about Marlo and, you know, we think about Avon, the way that they ran their shit, it was all what I say goes. You know, Marlo more so than Avon, because Avon really relied on Stringer. But Prop really was like, let me make a proposition with you. You know, let's cut this deal. You know, let's see how this can benefit both of us. Because he didn't make no enemies. I mean, he had enemies because of who he was, but him doing his business, he didn't really make any enemies doing what he had to do.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Prop Joe, man. Prop Joe. I remember the one episode he was trying to school Cheese, which is played by Method Man, which was his nephew on there, and he told him, he's like, did you ever hear about such and such? And he said some weird old hustler named Cheese. Said no, and he's like, you know why? Because he bought for 1, sold it for 2. I mean, he kept it simple. He ain't do no crazy shit. He ain't step on it, nothing. He just made his profit and kept it moving, man. That was one among the many gems that Prop Joe brought to the show. But yeah, just a good fucking actor overall, man. And rest in peace to that, man.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think that makes me wanna watch The Wire again.
Shit, that's another one. I've seen The Wire, so I can rehearse that one. I can say all damn self.
All right, so you want to jump into
Netflix?
You want to drop into our Netflix recommendations?
Yes. I mean, I've been off Netflix for the past month or so, because they're really. I've watched all the top shows, so I'm watching movies here and there. I actually saw something a couple of days ago. It's a movie called Fire with Fire. It stars Bruce Willis, Rosario Dawson. 50 Cent is also in the movie. It's funny because it's very random the way 50 appears in the movie. Premise of the movie is starts off with a guy who's a firefighter. Him and his boys stop at a convenience store to buy something. He goes inside. His boys go to get gas. While he's in the convenience store, gets robbed by some Nazi dudes who are trying to take over the drugs in the neighborhood. They end up killing 2 people in the store. They go to kill him. He escapes. The police try to put the guy in protective custody, but the Nazi guy is so connected that he almost kills the guy and his girlfriend in protective custody. So the guy flips it on them. He leaves protective custody and decides to hunt down the Nazi dude on their own. He meets 50 along the way. 50's like a drug dealer in the movie. 50's actually the leader.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, 50's the leader of a Crip set. And
Jesus Christ.
yeah, and he sells him some guns. Bruce Willis is a cop who's been trying to get the Nazi dude for the longest, and he kind of teams up with the guy at the end. It's pretty much a straight to DVD movie. The guy who plays the firefighter, his acting is real solid. Bruce Willis, his acting is solid. Rosario Dawson, who plays his girl, good acting. 50, he's mediocre at his acting. He plays the thug role, real good. But if you need a short movie to watch, it's only an hour and a half long. If you need something short to watch and pretty generic, comeback drug dealing witness protection movie, I recommend Fire. Yeah, I recommend Fire with Fire.
All right, cool. It sounds pretty much like the blueprint for every other 50 Cent movie that's on Netflix.
Pretty much.
But for my Netflix recommendation, this is something I watched a while ago. And I stumbled onto it. Y'all know I'm the documentary king lately. But this one is it's called Craigslist Joe, and it's a documentary about this dude. He makes it himself. He lives in LA, and he decides to do a social experiment just to restore his faith in society. So basically what he does is he decides that he's going to survive off of Craigslist. He's only going to keep his cell phone. He's going to move out of his apartment. He's not going to have his car, none of his credit cards, nothing like that. So pretty much what this dude does, he starts off in LA where he lives. He starts looking for, little odd jobs and things like that, and place to crash, food, things like that. So, somebody hooks him up with some fruit and place to stay for the night. So he basically just goes through Craigslist and looks for ads, for stuff to do. And what happens is that he finds somebody that wants to travel to Portland. So he goes from LA to Portland. So he's got like a little adventure there, and then he stays in Portland for like a day or so, and then he finds someone that wants to go to Seattle. So he goes to Seattle, and he ends up staying at this family's house for a couple of days. They have like a guest house, I guess, and they let him stay in the little guest house for free, and they let him eat at their house for free, and he starts searching. He meets a whole bunch of different people. He meets this Iraqi family who work at this. He meets a young man that works at like a tutoring place, like a after school program for kids that don't speak English.
Yeah.
So he meets this Iraqi guy. He's like probably like a little bit younger than us, maybe like his early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So he's talking about his story and things like that, and the Iraqi guy says, you know what, I would really like to introduce you to my family. And if anybody knows anything about Middle Eastern society, they're really very centrally located with their families. So he tells them their story and things like that about how after 9/11 everything changed with them since they're Muslim, and people are like, oh, go back. But then if they go back to Iraq,
What
and people in Iraq consider them American, so they don't want them there either. So it's like an emotional part of the story. But he finds a guy that wants to go to Vermont, so he drives to fucking Vermont, stops in Chicago. Basically, this guy makes his way the whole way around the country, literally, just using shit from Craigslist. You know, picking up rides and doing little odd jobs, doing volunteer work. There's a lot of struggle in it. There's one point where he couldn't find a place to crash, and he's in New York City in December, in the winter, obviously. So dude's got to sleep outside. But it's really, really, really interesting. Yeah, dude pretty much lives off of people, and he says, you know, he had his faith in humanity, you know, in society stored up to see who's willing to, you know, reach their hand out to help someone else that's in need. You know, and it makes for a good story too. Obviously, he was making his own film, but you know, it kind of gives you that warm and fuzzy feeling inside, you know, to know that, you know, there are some decent people out there, because you see a lot of shit in the news where, you know, a man kidnaps 3 little girls and this and that and the third, you know, but we don't get a lot of light on positive things that happen. And there are good people out there, you know. And I'm not going to say just one little documentary proves that, but, you know, it's nice for someone to shed light on something positive for a change instead of something negative. Like, you know, we see way too much of that now. So you guys need a little uplifting, a little bit of entertainment. Check this one out. It's called Craigslist Joe. My Netflix recommendation for the week.
All right.
So you want to drop a couple little gems for next week's show?
Yeah, you know, we're going to start doing this more often, giving you guys a preview so you know what's coming up next week. Some of the things we're going to touch on next week is a review of Simple Mobile. I know I had mentioned it probably once or twice before. I was going to switch to Simple Mobile once my T-Mobile contract was up. I made that jump about 2 weeks ago now, 2 weeks ago. So I'm going to drop a little review on that, on their service overall. I still have my same old shitty-ass phone. Going to drop a review on the new Mega Upload. Just literally launched about 5 hours ago. I opened up an account on there. I'm uploading some stuff as we speak, so we're going to drop a review on that and what you can and you can't do, why you should and you shouldn't use it. Also going to talk about 3D printing technology, which is pretty much becoming the rave now, and we're going to talk about how that connects to everything that's going on in society, from schools to music, and then I'm going to tell you how you can mess with some 3D guns.
Oh shit. Oh, you know what, you did tell me about that.
Yeah. You
know, and as you know, like every week, we'll have some TV reviews for y'all. Dana and I are going to get back into that. I'm going to try and watch Zero Dark 30 this week so Danny and I can duke it out about this, because he thought the movie was pretty shitty.
Wackest movie ever.
But we'll get to that. But yeah, more stuff on the way. You got any shout-outs?
Man, shout out to everybody as usual, man. All the listeners, like I said, we're back for 2013. You guys have been riding with us for a couple of months. We gave you a big mega show, 2 hours and some change today. Shout out to you guys for listening to us. Follow our YouTube, GeekSet Radio. Follow our Twitter at GeekSet Radio. Make sure you go on thekali.com. Check us out there. We upload the podcast there, but just keep listening to us. 2013, we plan to get bigger and better for you guys.
All right, I got a little laundry list of shout-outs, just some new listeners, some homies from the Kali in there. Shout out to my man I Major. Shout out to James Carter. Shout out to my man Joel B. Thanks, guys, for listening, checking us out. I've been bugging y'all about it, but y'all actually listen and y'all like it, so thank you for listening. The usual crew, our GeekSet affiliates, our man Princeton, Ray, Illadope. We appreciate you guys' loyalty, everything like that. We're coming for the crown this year, so keep listening. Danny and I are going to do it big. That's our half-assed New Year's resolution. No more vacation right now, so, you know, we're back, we're rested up. So with that in mind, thanks for everybody for listening. Retweet our shit so we can get some more followers. Our Twitter looking Larry Holmes right now.
Yeah, it is. Don't make us go out there and buy some damn followers, man.
We're going to have to fake it till we make it, bro.
That's how it is.
All right, y'all. For Danny, I'm Jet. This is GeekSet Radio. We out.